A dissident Republican was jailed for life today for murdering 2 British soldiers outside a military barracks in Northern Ireland. Brian Shivers from County Londonderry, who's suffering from cystic fibrosis, was found guilty by Mr Justice Anthony Hart, who was sitting without a jury. But his co-defendant, Colin Duffy, was cleared of taking any part in the ambush at the main gates to Massereene Barracks in Antrim. James Hirst reports from Antrim Crown Court.
When Brian Shivers arrived at court this morning, he was on bail, possibly his last ever hours as a free man. There was tight security for the verdict in this trial of what had been the first killings of British soldiers in Northern Ireland for 12 years. The soldiers, delayed on a deployment to Afghanistan, had ordered pizza, but moments after they arrived at the gate of Massereene Barracks to collect it, 2 gunmen opened fire with AK-47s.
Hello, can you send police down to Massereene Barracks, please? I've just had a contact or shooting outside the camp.
So, Massereene Barracks?
Yeah, please.
And what's happened there?
There's been a shooting, mobile shooting.
The judge said those gunmen had been intent on killing as many people as possible, shooting anyone they could, including soldiers who were laying on the ground already hit. Sappers Patrick Azimkar and Mark Quinsey were killed, several of their colleagues seriously injured. But of the 2 men who've been on trial for their murders, only one was found guilty today. It was DNA evidence on matches and a mobile phone found in the partly burnt-out remains of the car used in the attack that convinced the judge that Brian Shivers had played a part in these murders, not directly pulling the trigger, but helping cover up for those who had. And in giving his verdict guilty of murder, he said there is no doubt that the person who set fire to the car played an essential part in this murderous attack. But prominent Republican Colin Duffy, who was arrested early in the inquiry, walked free today. The judge said DNA evidence, which showed he had probably been in the car at some time, was insufficient to prove he'd actually played any part in the killings. For the relatives of the murdered soldiers, who shed tears in court, the pain of what happened is still very fresh.
Mehmet will often say, like in the last year or 2, and it's been so difficult to get, sometimes to get through the day. And he'll say, to remember what Patrick said. We've got to get on with our lives. And we do, actually. We have and we do. But it isn't easy.
We struggle, but...
Yeah, we struggle a lot.
We're still alive.
Yes.
It's almost 3 years since the killings here shattered more than a decade of relative peace for British forces in Northern Ireland. The judge said there would have had to have been at least 3 people involved on this site on the night, and there may have been others in the planning. So despite today's conviction, this remains very much an unsolved crime. James Hirst, Forces News, Massereene Barracks.